Hi everyone, today I'm going to teach you how to fold a chomping T-Rex. This is a really fun action model that has a lot of teeth and it can open and close its jaws. This was designed by Robert Lang and I really appreciate him giving me permission to teach this. You can find the diagrams in his book Origami in Action, Paper Toys That Fly, Flap, Gobble, and Inflate. This is an awesome book full of all sorts of different action models. Some of the other really cool ones from the book are his kicking otter, the person paddling a canoe, the strumming guitarist and fiddling bassist. It also teaches a couple action models from other designers, like the Spring into Action by Jeff Bainon and the Flasher by Jeremy Schaefer and Chris Palmer. This is a great book to add to your collection, as well as any book by Robert Lang, really. I have lots of them. I'll link to this book down in the description if you'd like to buy it, as well as to his website so you can check out more of his amazing work. Now this is a high intermediate model, so if you're new to origami it'll be very difficult to fold this, so you might want to try a different video if you don't have much folding experience. In this video I'll be using a 14-inch square of kami, but I recommend using paper that's at least 10 inches for this. If you don't have any, I'll link to the paper I'm using down in the description, which is this pack of 14-inch kami that I just found on Amazon. This paper works great, and it's not easy to find kami this size, so check below for the link. That paper will end up with a T-Rex that's this size, which I think is perfect. I also folded one from 10-inch foil, and that looks like this. It's another really great option. I got this paper just from Origami USA. I'll link to that down there as well. Now this is one that I folded from a 6-inch square of kami. It was really difficult, and it doesn't look that great, so I really don't recommend it, but it is possible. This one that I folded for the intro was folded from a 40-inch square of double tissue that I made. If you want to learn how to make double tissue, there's lots of tutorials on YouTube for that. Also, a link to these t-shirts as well as others will be down in the description. And this is the longest video I've filmed for this channel so far, so I hope you enjoy it, and let's get started. So we're going to start with the white side up. Now we'll valley fold in half along both of the diagonals. We'll bring this bottom corner up to the top corner. And then unfold. Now we'll bring the left corner over to the right corner. And then unfold. Now we'll turn the paper over. Next we're going to fold each of the edges into this center vertical crease. So we'll start with the bottom left edge. And then unfold. Now move on to the top left. And then unfold. Now the top right. And the bottom right. And then unfold. Next we're going to make a valley fold that connects where these two creases meet the edge of the paper. So it'll run right between those 2 points. So just line it up with one of those creases and then make sure this point is running right along the center. Then it should meet up on the other side as well. And then do the same thing on the right side. Now we're going to leave both of those folded. Now we're going to mountain fold the whole thing in half, swinging the top flap behind. Next, we're going to make a valley fold that runs right along this raw edge. So we'll swing this point down. And then unfold. Next, we're going to swing this point over, making this raw edge line up with this center vertical crease. Should line up on the top and the bottom, and you can crease that. And unfold. Next, we're going to bring this edge on the right in to lie along this raw edge. And unfold. Now we're going to repeat all of those creases on the left side. So we'll fold right along this raw edge. Unfold. And now bring that raw edge into the center. And unfold. And then bring this left edge into the raw edge. And unfold. Next, looking back to the right side, we're going to make a crimp fold that uses these creases as a mountain fold and then these creases as a valley fold. Basically, we'll inside reverse fold along this crease. And then reverse fold again along the next crease. And close it back up, forming a nice crimp fold. And then repeat that on the left side. Next, if we look where this white edge meets the red edge, we're going to make a valley fold that runs from that point over to the point on the right side where those edges meet. And as we do that, we're going to form a petal fold with some pre-existing creases underneath. So fold this flap up. And as you do that, you'll notice these creases underneath. We can start to form those as a petal fold on both sides. If you just fold that flap all the way up, it should happen pretty naturally. Next, if you look inside these layers, we're going to pull out some trapped paper. So if you open it up just slightly, you'll see this white layer. We can just pull that out to the side. And do the same thing on the left. Just pull out that trapped layer and then close everything back up. You should have a nice square here. Next we're going to form a rabbit ear fold with the creases we already have in place. We just need to reverse them into valley folds. Then do the same thing on the left side. Next we're going to unfold everything except for these rabbit ears that we just made. So you can just hold those rabbit ears in place and then gently pull all the rest of the paper apart. We're going to lay it down with the white side up, but I'll show you really quick what the other side looks like. So we still have these rabbit ears in place, but everything else is unfolded. Next we're going to mountain fold in half, swinging the bottom up behind. But we're going to form these little rabbit ears we have on the side as we do that. So start this mountain fold. And then if you just push in on the sides, these rabbit ears should form. We already have all the creases in place. And then close it all the way up. Next we're going to valley fold this flap up right along this crease line. And as we do that, we're going to swing this back flap down. And then we're going to close up these creases. So I'll go really slowly. Start this valley fold. And then that flap should swing out below. And then if we just close up these creases on the side, everything should happen naturally since we have all of the creases in place already. Next we're going to make a small pinch mark right in the center where the colors change. So just fold this edge up right along the raw edge below and make a small pinch mark in the center and unfold. And do the same thing up top. And unfold. Now turn this over right to left. Next we're going to make a valley fold that runs down vertically right from where these two edges meet. So the valley fold will run straight down. And this point will meet the center of this little X we have. And then do the same thing on the left side. Now unfold both of those. Now a couple things happen at once for this next step. We're going to pull up just this single layer and begin to form this crease that runs vertically as a mountain fold. Then if you look at the layers below, we'll spread these layers apart and reform these valley folds that we just made. So once you fold those valley folds in, then you can continue pinching this crease, form that up as high as it will go. Then once it starts to catch, we're going to swing this point out over to the right and then flatten everything. And as we do that, a couple new creases will form up top. Make sure you're forming this crease up as high as it will go. And it should flatten like this. And that crease we made below should run vertically, lining up with this crease. And now take that new flap and valley fold it all the way over to the left. And then fold it back. Next, we'll bring this bottom edge in to line up with this center vertical crease. As you do that, this point should swing all the way to the top of this edge. And then unfold. Next, we're going to swing this point into the crease in the center on the bottom. We should make a valley fold that runs perpendicular to the bottom edge. Next, we'll swing that point over, lining up this crease we just made with this center vertical crease. As you do that, just make sure these edges all line up on the bottom. And then unfold. Next, we'll swing this point over to line up with this crease on the bottom. And then unfold. Next, we're going to inside reverse fold on this first crease, and then we'll reverse fold back out on the next crease. So we'll start this first reverse fold. And then we'll be reverse folding it back out. Next, we're going to make a spread sink that will open up this section at the top. So we're going to valley fold the top layer across right along this valley fold. Do this with just the first edge. And then you're going to leave the other edges on the right side. And as you spread that apart, you should start to feel some resistance. So we're going to press down right along this edge. Do it gently, and as you're pressing on this top edge, you tug apart with those other edges and just work it nice and slowly until you have these new creases that form all the way from the edge up to this very top point. Next, we'll make a valley fold that bisects this angle, so we'll bring this bottom edge in to lie along this center vertical crease. And then unfold. Next, we're going to fold that flap over, aligning this crease we just made with that center vertical crease. Just make sure that runs all the way down to the center on the bottom. And then unfold. Next, we're going to inside reverse fold in and out on those creases that we just made. So we'll be doing a reverse fold right along these creases, and then it will fold back out along the next crease. So we'll start that inside reverse. And then we'll fold it back out. Next, we'll make another inside reverse fold, swinging this point down to the center on the bottom. We already have this crease in place as well. Next, we're going to make another spread sink with this section. We'll do this symmetrically. So we'll spread these layers apart. And then as you do that, you can start to tug these edges apart and press down in the center. You want to try to get that sink to run all the way up. Next, we're going to be reverse folding these edges in along this crease we have right here. But we only have the crease on the top layer, so we can pre-crease just to make sure we have it on both layers. So bring this edge into the center. And unfold, and then turn that into a inside reverse fold. Do the same thing on the left. And then we'll fold this corner down. It's going to make a valley fold that runs right along this edge that's underneath. I just fold it straight down as far as it will go. Now we're going to rotate 180 degrees. Then we're going to repeat all of those steps on this side. I will go a little bit faster this time, but we're going to make this valley fold that runs vertically, bringing this corner into the center of that X. Same on the left side. And then unfold. Next, we're going to spread this layer apart, form those valley folds underneath, and then pinch this layer up. And keep pinching it all the way up to the top, and swing it over to the right. Then swing it to the left. And back to the right. Then we'll line up this bottom edge with the center vertical crease. and unfold. Then we'll bring this right point into the center on the bottom. And unfold. Then line up that crease we just made with the center vertical crease. And unfold. And then bring that point on the right into the crease closest to it. And unfold. Next, we're going to reverse fold in and out on this crease and then this crease. So we open that up. Swing the first layer in. And then back out on the next crease. And we're going to make that spread sink. So we'll bring this edge over to the left. Then we'll bring that bottom edge into the center crease. And unfold. Then swing the same crease that we just made over to line up with that same vertical crease. And unfold. Now inside reverse fold in and out on these two creases. Do the first reverse fold and then fold back out. And then inside reverse fold on this crease that we have, swinging this point down to the bottom. And now spread sink these layers. Swing that over to the left. And then inside reverse fold these two. So pre-crease and reverse fold. And then fold this corner down. Next, we're going to valley fold everything in half vertically. We'll swing the left edge over to the right. And then we'll rotate that. Next, we're going to look at this flap on the bottom right. We're going to make an inside reverse fold that runs right along this edge. We already have one of the creases in place for this underneath. So we'll inside reverse fold along that crease and then form the mountain fold right along this edge. Next, we're going to inside reverse fold that point back down right along this edge. So just swing that layer through and then form the mountain fold along this edge. Then we'll inside reverse fold that one more time along this edge. Next, we need to repeat all of those steps on these other three flaps. I'm going to move on to this one on the left, and I'm just going to go through it a lot more quickly since it's all the same steps. And then we'll turn it over and repeat all of that on this side. Then we'll turn it back over to the original side. Next, we're going to repeat the same kinds of reverse folds on each of these flaps, but it will feel a little bit different. So there is just more layers pressed together, so I'll show you exactly how it works. And then once we get to the left side, there's some layers in the way, so I'll walk you through both sides, but it's pretty similar to the last steps. So we'll just inside reverse fold this right along this edge, and then with these layers that are all pressed together, you can just pop it through, just treat them as one layer. And then just line it up with these edges underneath. Yeah, just treat that little section as if it's one layer and just push it right through. And it should feel just like it did before. Then the next two reverse folds are just the same as before. As you're doing these reverse folds, the edges should always line up with edges that are underneath. So there we have the first one. Now I'll show you one on the left side. So as we start this reverse fold, when you look underneath, These layers won't actually open all the way like they do on the other side, since we have this flap that's in the way. They're still gonna repeat those same steps, but you'll just have to deal with the fact that there's a flap in the way and just push through without quite as much room. So you can't really work it from both sides of the paper like with the other flaps. So you just have to do it all from one side, but it should still work just the same. And then those other two reverse folds again. Then just turn it over and repeat all those steps again. Now make sure you have this paper oriented the same again with these little flaps facing this way. We're going to look at this flap on the left side. We're going to be inside reverse folding this point into the model. So we're going to open this up and I'm going to inside reverse fold it between these layers. So I've got the raw edge, then two more edges. Then we'll inside reverse fold right here, just as far as it goes. So this layer should become flat as you're reverse folding this. Then you close that back up. Then next we're going to reverse fold this point back up. But we're going to do it between these two layers. See, I have the raw edge and then one more edge. Then it's between these two. So reverse fold this back up. There's not an exact reference for where to do this, but you'll just leave a little bit of space between this edge and then the edge that we're forming. Then you'll fold it up so that this edge is about perpendicular with this edge. And you could do those reverse folds between some of the other layers, but I like to use those layers so it keeps the colored side on the inside and the outside of the teeth look really white. But no matter where you reverse fold it, just make sure both sides are white. Next, we're going to do similar steps with this next flap. So we need to open these layers apart. Should happen pretty naturally right here. Then we'll inside reverse fold to swing this point through. Now this layer should be flat. Then we'll close it back up. Next, we'll inside reverse fold that point upwards. We need to do this between two white layers. So I'm going to do it between these two. Could do it between the two on the edge, or there's some white layers on this side as well, but I'm going to do it right here. There's no reference for this one either. but just reverse fold it about there. And then we can touch this up later so there's less color showing. But get it about like that. And then with the next flap, we're just going to do a reverse fold. So take this point between two of those white layers on the inside. Inside reverse fold that up, making this vertical edge line up with this edge underneath, or just get it close. Now we need to turn this over and repeat all of those steps on this side. So we'll take this point, inside reverse fold, then inside reverse fold it up. And move on to the next one. And then reverse fold this last one. Then I'll turn it back over to the other side. Now for this last point, we're going to make an outside reverse fold. There's no exact reference for this, but we just outside reverse fold that. So about to here. Next we need to make that white. So we're going to wrap one of these layers of paper around. It can be hard to grab this layer. You can grab some tweezers to get it a little more easily. Just pull that layer out. And then turn it white. Then turn it over and do the same thing on this side. Now we have all the teeth on one side. We need to move on to the other side and repeat all of those steps over here. So we reverse fold that flap through, close it up, and then reverse fold the point up. And then swing it through, fold it up, And reverse fold. Turn it over. Do that again. And then the outside reverse fold. Then to wrap that layer around, and this side. Now that we have all of the teeth made, I usually go through and I'll touch up each of the layers to make it show there's less color showing through, so the teeth look a bit whiter. I'm not going to spend too much time doing that right now. I'll just get it pretty close. It's a really quick touch up, but you can spend more time on that if you'd like. For this next step, we're going to swing this point from right to left. Then using that crease we just made, we're going to reverse fold it inside. And then we'll fold the flap down all the way. Next, we're going to valley fold this flap back up, and about 2/3 of this flap will be folded up. This doesn't have to be exact, but about right there. So this point should be a little bit below those edges. The edge should be in between this edge and this crease. Then we'll fold the point back down. There's no exact reference, but you'll fold it about that much so there's some of the point sticking past the edge like that. Then we'll turn it over and repeat all that on this side. So we'll fold the flap from left to right, reverse fold it in, fold it down as far as it goes, fold up 2/3 of the flap, and then fold it back down. Should look pretty close to the one on the other side. Fold it back over. Now this next step is a little different. We're going to look at this from the white side at all these edges. I'm going to hold it this way. So you're going to spread these layers apart, and then we're going to squash these layers open. So if you just push down right in the center of the edge that's in the middle, then those layers should squash apart. And I'm holding all this together from the back. Squash it apart about this much. Okay, and I'll show you from both sides. Now we can pinch each of these teeth just to give it a little bit of shape and make them a little pointier. Now if you're using smaller paper, you'll probably need tweezers to do this. But we just pinch each tooth like that. It also helps to hide some of the colored parts. I'll just do that with every tooth. Next we need to open the eyes up. So you should have 2 layers that you can spread apart. Just spread those open and then squash down this part just a little bit. And do the same thing with the other one. Next we need to close these jaws up, and this step is a little strange as well. We're going to make a mountain fold through all the layers that starts right from where this crease meets the edge, extends out this way and this way. Just folding through all the layers, keeping this little squash in place. And the same thing with the bottom. And the next step where we actually close this up, we'll get these creases a little more firmly and in their proper place. I'm gonna repeat that on this side. Now, make sure this squash is still in place, and then we're going to close the jaws up. And then using those creases we just made, now we can form them a little more. And now if you just hold it on the sides, these layers are going to overlap right here. You can keep your finger held right on the back. Then you might need to manipulate the paper a little bit to get it just right. You should be able to squeeze on the sides, get the jaws to chomp. Just work the creases until you have it just right. And then as you put some of those creases in place, you might need to rearrange the teeth to get them looking nice. Let's do some final touch-ups. And then there we have it. Now if it looks a little crazy, you could add a little bit of glue to make the layers seal up a little more nicely, but it's not really necessary. Still looks great like this. Those eyes, some nice curve. Guess my left hand isn't as good. I really hope you were able to fold this one. This is one of my favorite models out of his book, but I encourage you to buy the book and fold all of the models in there. They're all a lot of fun. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you were able to fold it. Now go down and click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and then click the little notification bell. Now don't forget, down in the description there is a link to go buy the book, to go check out Robert Lang's website and all of his other work, and to the shirts, the paper. There's lots of links down there. But I really hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time.